If you want to have something, if you're like, fuck, I know that I want $300,000 a year. Okay, that is God speaking through you, because who you have to become to bring that in is the transformation your soul is desiring to have. Can you go sit in a fucking cave in the Himalayas and meditate that shit away? Yes, we've done it. It didn't work. The world is still going to shit, and there's plenty of monks that have been meditating for a long fucking time. We're on like the cusp of World War III or some crazy shit. Thank God there are people who are actually taking a physical stand against what's happening. Before we dive into the podcast, first, a word from our sponsor. 1 in 4 men have 0 close friends. And I have been one of those guys, which blew my mind because I'm an entrepreneur, I've run multiple businesses, and I've put in significant work on personal development. I would even consider myself a growth junkie. I chose to focus my time on building my career, cultivating my relationship with my fiance, and all of my overall personal development goals. That meant cultivating close friendships with other men was like 5th on my priority list, meaning it didn't really happen. And why this is important is because as a successful man, you need to have strong masculine relationships that you can rely on when stuff hits the fan. Always taking your stress and your challenges to your woman or bottling it up inside and just repressing it has very negative long-term effects on your business. And we're not alone in this. There are millions of entrepreneurial, high achiever, self-development, growth junkie guys out there that have put in a lot of work on themselves and are now looking to put that work in on cultivating brotherhood. And those men are intentionally seeking those connections in brothership, a community that empowers high-achieving men to overcome isolation and forge authentic brotherhood. So join us to experience a place where we are intentionally cultivating these meaningful relationships and achieving holistic success in every area of our lives. We look forward to seeing you in the group, so join now. So if you would like to join Brothership, you can find a link below in the show notes of this episode of the podcast. And now, back to the show.
You are listening to the Heart for Life podcast with Thomas Scott.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Heart for Life podcast. Today, I'm doing a solo cast because fuck, I've got some things to say. It's been a minute since I've gone solo, and I've been up to a lot of stuff, but I'm going to hop right in with the topic of today's podcast, which is this spiritual healing, feminine fuckboy energy that I had been trapped in for quite a few years. And I'm seeing how it's like pervasive everywhere. And I'm actually even coming to the point where this new age movement stuff, I've tried it out. I've gone all in on it. And there is some deep truth at the core of it. And on the other side, there is also some deep, deep bypassing. Yep. And it really relates to this manifestation, slow down and just feel and find when the energy is right, those sorts of things. Man, I was living that, and it worked to a degree, but then it fucked me. It fucked me so hard. And this rock bottom of having tried this shit out all the way, and then, let me light my candle here. Speaking of spiritual things, let me light my candle. Listen, it wasn't all bad. There's a lot of really good in this field, but there is a level of lack of responsibility and accountability. There's actually a strong lack of accountability at the highest degree, which to me is a lack of integrity. It's very, very common and easy to go back on your word in the spiritual communities that I've run in. It's like everyone's letting each other off the hook all the time so that they can feel good, so that they can just flow with the vibes. so they can go and be on vacation in Tulum. I did a permanent vacation in Tulum for 2 years. I have a lot of friends in Tulum, and a lot of them are just running away from the truth. A lot of them are there because it's cheap and you can live like a king while not paying very much money. And so your life looks glamorous. You're staying in very fancy looking properties. But in reality, if you drink the water, you're going to get fucking parasites and your stomach's going to be totally fucked. In reality, you are in a different country where I've found often the people living there are doing it to run away from shit in their home country, myself included. And it's a fake lifestyle. A lot of them are promoting the lifestyle like it's this really sexy thing, and it has its elements of that. Being half naked on the beach, sitting under the moonlight, doing yoga in the shalas. It's nice. I'm glad I lived that part of my life. And if I look at what I'm capable of and where I'm meant to go, it fucking ain't happening at Tulum, which is why I moved. And when I moved, I got to eat the shit sandwich that was this false reality I was living. I came back to a more developed part of the world, Canada, which is very similar to the United States in almost every way, except for subtle differences. And it's the life that I am most used to and most comfortable because I was born in the United States. And that lifestyle is one that I've become quite accustomed to, but it's also one that works. It's one that while love or hate the United States, the system fucking works. The system works. You can get very wealthy in the United States, especially if you have gotten yourself out of the lies that you're telling yourself. And this brings me back to the topic of this spiritual healing, I don't even know what you call it, mindset? Fucking prison? I see so many coaches just struggling all the time. It's a feast or famine industry. It's this predatory industry where everyone is trying to sell everyone. That's like predominantly the industry at this point, especially the spiritual healing side of things, where everyone is like, let me do an energy healing for you, and that's going to fix your life. But yet the person doing the energy healing is broke as shit and stressed as hell and working to fix that. And that's not to say that these tools don't have value. It's the same as an iPhone, though. It's like, it's a gimmick. It's something that you can use. It's an experience to have. At the same time, it's not going to fix anything for you. I am like fucking deep in this. The only thing that's going to fix me is me. And I fell in the trap of seeking the next energy reading or did I really do that? I always thought the energy readings were a bit bullshit. Let me be real. I've always thought that was kind of like, oh, this is just your projection of what you're experiencing in your field right now. I believe fields are very real. I believe people can feel them. I believe they can read them. And I believe there is some truth that comes through from that. But oftentimes that truth is wildly wrapped up in the projections of the person who is sharing the truth. So if you can learn to see how the truth they're giving you is largely their truth, but that you can actually experience some value from it, okay. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, we just come do this tarot reading and it's going to help you see your money challenges and you will unlock money blocks for the next 30 days. And it's like, no, that shit works. The block is just doing the shit. And what I even realized at a deeper level is so much of this mindset and this industry is related to trying to figure out why. I think there's really deep value in finding out why some of the events in your life have happened and transpired the way that they have. I spent a lot of time looking down that path, looking at why was I the way I was? Why did I react to things the way I would when I would react to them? What event happened in my past that leads me to act this way now? Those types of things. And it's been valuable. It's definitely been valuable, but it's also been a fucking trap. Fuck. And I kind of always knew that, but I couldn't see how or why it was a trap. Everyone thinks that they can go off, float up in the ethers, and that's somehow going to like overturn what's happening on the planet at this time. If they just hold the vision of it strong enough, they're doing their part by sitting in nature and taking mushrooms and grounding on the earth, and that's going to heal. That's going to heal the whole planet. I love that because in some reality, them healing themselves is having a ripple effect on the planet for sure. And if that's what's bringing them healing, great. But in reality, it's the people who do some of that work and then turn around and actually fucking go work, go make it happen, go actually take ideas and build them, create them, stay consistent with them. Take a vision of what's in their hearts and make it fucking happen. I see Elon Musk do this all the time. He takes a lot of shit. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. But the one thing the dude does is he sees a vision in his head and then he makes it reality. Like he just had a rocket that he caught on a landing pad. That's crazy. I guarantee you there were many people who told him it could not be done. And that's the story of this fucking planet, is so many people telling each other what can't be done. And it's always the people who aren't doing what they should be doing. Because to them, what they should be doing can't be done. And that's the lie they're telling themselves. And so instead, they go around telling everybody else all the things that they can't do either. And I fucking hate that. That shit is so damn poisonous and venomous. I was just talking to a guy the other day who was telling me about how big he feels his life is, and he's not even living a fraction of it. And he was sharing it with a guy in his church. And the guy in his church was like, well, maybe that's actually God telling you that you should just become content and happy with your wife and your kids and the life that you have right now. Ugh. How happy and content is the guy giving that advice? Or is that just the fucking story he is telling himself to let himself off the hook for what he knows he should be doing? Go ahead and run a background check on how many addictions that guy has. Go ahead and look at how strong his marriage is. What's his relationship like with his kids? Is his wife turned on in bed? Because that sounds like limp dick energy to me. And I imagine it's playing out everywhere. And I see it because I'm fucking responsible too. I've been in that field. This is why I'm having this fucking podcast. I'm angry with myself. I'm angry with myself. I'm angry with that mindset and the ideology. It's missing a piece. It's missing a massive, massive piece. People talk about it all the time. Manifestation only works when you take inspired action. It's not one inspired action. It is consistent, painful, all the fucking time inspired action. And it's don't quit on those inspired actions until you have the fucking manifestation. Until it is in your hands, in your lap, no question. The sale is not closed until the check is in the bank. The end. And God damn, I was stuck in that. I keep saying it. I'm like, even on this episode, I'm just having deeper and deeper realizations. And my intention in sharing this is that it helps any of you who are listening to have realizations. If you want to have something, if you're like, fuck, I know that I want $300,000 a year. Okay, that is God speaking through you. Because who you have to become to bring that in is the transformation your soul is desiring to have. Can you go sit in a fucking cave in the Himalayas and meditate that shit away? Yes, we've done it. It didn't work. The world is still going to shit, and there's plenty of monks that have been meditating for a long fucking time. We're on like the cusp of World War III or some crazy shit. Thank God there are people who are actually taking a physical stand against what's happening. I know that because of all this spiritual healing shit, I wouldn't have even been able to take a stand. If someone came at me with a gun and shot me in the fucking ear, I would have been like, oh my God, whatever you want. My bad. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have been like, fight. I didn't have that fight in me. And I know if you're a man listening to this or watching this, you want to have that fight. If you're a woman listening to this, you want your man to have that fucking fight. You want him to have that fight. You want him to have that passion, that power to make shit happen in the world. You want it. It's sexy, but it's not just sexy. It means you're in your purpose, and God wants it too. Why? Because those are the people that can hold the weight of the fucking mission and not just be blown over if their energy or chi wasn't aligned. So fucking what? You woke up and it was Mercury in retrograde and the energies of whatever negativity was coming your way, whatever bullshit. You can spend the whole day sitting there figuring out why you didn't accomplish your goals, or you can just take fucking action. And then people get stuck so much in the like, but is this the right path? Maybe it's not meant to be. It didn't happen. Or maybe it not happening is the next lesson on your soul's growth and evolution. Maybe it not happening was a little like, hey, try something new. Keep going. Are you going to be knocked over by one little simple thing that didn't go your way? What the fuck is that? And this message is from me just as much as it is for anybody listening. I am fairly new on this path of climbing out of this fucking cave I have been in. I blew a massive client contract. I've been coaching at the level of $120,000 per year. That's what it costs to work with me. And I landed a killer client, and it was amazing. And I settled into, I'm not making any more sales because it's not meant to be. Or God has different plans for me. So I'm going to get to the bottom of why that is. Instead of going no, I want to bring in more clients. Well, what do I need to do? I got trapped in the fucking mind prison of trying to figure out why it wasn't happening on an energetic and spiritual level, as opposed to realizing that why it wasn't happening is I just needed to take more action. I needed to try new things. And not from a place of scarcity, not from a place of fear, but from a place of hey, I have this authentic want. That want is to bring in way more money than I'm bringing in right now. And in bringing that in, I'm going to become a new version of myself. And instead of waiting for a miracle, which is what I was doing, I was praying all the time. I was deep in prayer. And I'm like, God, why is it not working? God, it's timing. It must be timing. God just doesn't want this for me. That ideology is fucking bullshit. I have tried it out all the way. I have gone with it from start to finish. It brought in a really beautiful contract, and then it fucking dropped me on my ass nice and hard. And in that, I'm realizing the ability I have to step up, the ability I have to actually make shit happen, because I am now. And it's not from a hope and a prayer. The prayer comes in to help me align my intention and to get very clear on what I want, which is the truth. What do I want? Do I want a fucking Lambo? Okay, right now I don't in this moment. My authentic desire is right now over the next month, I don't want a Lamborghini. I want to bring in really, really grounded foundational success in my business. That's the steps I'm taking. I want systems. I want automation. I want to be a world-class marketer so that my pipeline is just full all the time. I want a wait list of clients. How do I get that? I fucking build it. I build it. And I see so many people in this industry, so many people who are that doesn't align with my energy to do it that way. That doesn't align. I don't want to do that. My energy's off with that. That doesn't excite me. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. How's your money looking? It's not exciting me looking for you. How's it working for you? How do you feel about it? If it's working for you, then keep going. But if it's not, maybe it's time to try something else. Maybe it's time to actually do some shit you don't want to do, because that's what creates growth. That's what creates growth. I stay in a relationship that sometimes we have fights. Sometimes it is very fucking hard. It is very uncomfortable. If I was only in it for the good times, I wouldn't have the growth that I have. Why do I keep showing up to that? Because I'm committed all the way. All the way. The commitment's not, I'm only committed when it's good. So why the fuck are you treating your business like that? Why the fuck does your coaching have to only feel good, or you're not doing it? Why the fuck do you have to be in a certain energy to make content, or you're not going to? These messages are for me just as much as they are for you. I'm constantly rewriting these narratives in my head right now because I was heavy dumped and deeply immersed in this world for like 3 years. And just like the indoctrination of my Catholic upbringing, this new age, spiritual, starseed, manifestation, what else we got? Energy healing, coaching, sound bath, plant medicine, fuck, that thing, whatever you want to put that label on it, spirituality, new age. It has its value, the same as Catholicism has its value. But just like Catholicism, it has its own indoctrinating beliefs that don't serve all the fucking way. They're disempowered. They're disempowered. You can find empowerment in them. You can find truth within them. They can help you along the path, but they aren't the path. The path is you finding in your heart, just what do you want? Not like some big, crazy, like, in my heart, it's, I'm going to go save the bees in Africa, and here's the plan. Blah, blah. If you want to save the bees in Africa, great, go do that. But the point here is like, what do you actually want right now? Do you want to make more money? Do you want that? Are you making enough money right now? If the answer when I ask that question is no, ask yourself, how much money do you want to make right now in the next month? Because I'm going to bet the answer, the authentic answer, is not actually like $1 million. Unless you actually had that within you. If you have that within you, if you feel in and you're like, I want to make $1 million in the next 30 days, authentically, like my heart says full fuck yes to that. Great. You have the capability to do it then. Make it happen. And do everything in your power to make it happen. But if your heart's like, actually, I want to make 10K. I want to make 6K, whatever you're at. My number's 30 right now. That's my number. My number's 30K reoccurring each month. I'm not saying that to compete with you. I just know that's what I'm capable of. I know I'm capable of pulling that off in a 30-day period. And it's not even a logical, I know I'm capable of it. It's a like, yeah, it feels good. Like that feels like something I'm going to hit. So then I commit to it all the way. No question. Not like, but what if this thing that happened in the past when I committed to these big things will happen again to me? Don't care. I don't care. I don't fucking care. It's not relevant. It's not relevant. If you've gone through the spiritual healing path, why do you care? You did the healing. You cleared the pattern. And if you're so scared about the trauma possibly happening again, you aren't going to get anywhere. You're not going to. Because what's guaranteed is that you will receive whatever medicine you are supposed to receive to continue your soul's growth and evolution. You can't get out of that. Either you get to get down on a knee and choose it for yourself, or you get to have life bring you to your knees. And I'm in the like beautiful, beautiful surrender of life bringing me to my knees, but also like doing it way sooner than other people. I started waking up to this on a call, a boot camp I was in. And there were guys that were like 50 and 60 having similar realizations that I am right now. And they're like, fuck. They have like sometimes 20, 30 years of patterns and conditioning on me, stuck in this trap. Their life is nothing what they wanted. And like they have some joy in it for sure. Like most of them are granddads or dads or whatever, and they love their kids. But even their relationship with their kids sucks. Their sex with their spouse is terrible. Because they're fucking impotent. They didn't do it. Oh, and I'm so grateful I am not one of those guys right now. Like I'm getting brought to my knees having lost this client, but also getting to bring myself right back up with fucking ease and grace because I'm choosing it. I'm saying yes. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you for pulling the rug out from underneath me right now so that I can step into my power now at my age, as opposed to having it happen at a later point in life. And I'll bet each one of these guys has had the rug pulled a number of times before they were 60, before they got this hard slap in the face, and they didn't listen. Right now I'm listening. Right now I am not letting anybody save me but myself. It's fucking terrifying. It's terrifying. Everything in my being wants to go and ask for support in any way, shape, or form. Whether that's getting a loan, whether that's trying to sell another contract in a unaligned way. So for me, one of the things that's out of alignment right now is selling long coaching containers. I was doing year-long coaching containers. That's wildly out of alignment for me right now. I don't know that I can deliver on a year-long transformation. I can deliver on year-long change, but can I deliver on year-long transformation? Honest answer is yes, I believe. Now that I ask, here we go. It's a constant game. I'm leaning in on truth. And the truth is yes, as long as I stay connected to truth all the way. Do I trust myself to do that? So far, yes. But I don't have the long track record of that. The really big shit sandwich I've been eating right now is realizing all the lies I've been telling myself. And those lies largely circle around this information that I'm sharing here on this episode. It's like that I can pray my way to my millions. Why would I even want to do that? Why would God want to give me all of that power when I didn't learn how to use it? I didn't take the grounded action steps. Like, here's a metaphor. It'd be like putting me into battle with the best sword, but never having the training to wield it. Or even like, let's not even use a sword. Putting me into a war with the best tank on the planet and no operating manual. Like I never learned the operating manual. I would be sitting there reading it while all the bombs are dropping and people are shooting and then maybe get a shot off, but it's not even lined up accurately. Like everybody has these fucking pipe dreams of the money they want to make and how they want to command it without wanting to do the work to just learn. It's not that hard to learn. It just takes consistent action. So in using this metaphor, if I just say, hey, I do want the greatest tank on the planet. I want the best sword. Okay, just take consistent action to learn every single day and I will have it. I'll have it. God's like, yes, I want that for you too. And I want you to be able to use it well. I want you to be able to drive it. I want you to be able to shoot it. I want you to be able to hit the target so that you can keep doing it, so that you can actually be an effective member of my army. You can effectively serve in the kingdom. This is a gift. This is like the big lie. The big lie is that it's like it sucks or that it's hard or that poor me, I don't want to have to do that work. That's a lie. That's actually a lie that you don't want to do the work. That's a lie. If you get in deep, if it is a true, authentic want, if I really want to make $30,000 per month, which I do, doing the work is great. Like I'm down. Now, where people have burned themselves out is if they're not doing the work in other areas of their lives. So for example, if I only have that as my only goal, bet I'm going to burn bridges in every other area because it's like, well, fuck family, fuck my relationship, fuck my body, fuck praying to God, any of that stuff, because my goal is 30K and I'm going to make that happen. Men do that all the time. Women do it too. This isn't a gender thing. It's just when we pursue that goal exclusively, that's when it leads to burnout because we're not getting filled up in the other areas of our life. And then we got to go into fucking temazcals and Tulum and complain about how hard our life was and all of the pain and suffering and trauma that we created from doing it that way. And I have compassion for it. I know I'm being very flippant, It's a reflection of how I feel about myself over the past year, which is I really spent too much time looking at the why. Why was I doing things the way I was doing them? Why wasn't God bringing it to me? And I didn't have this framework that I have now. And so some of my passion and fire in this is trying to slap the shit out of you to wake you up. Just like I just got woken up to say, hey, you are in a cave. It is a cave of your own making, but it is very hard to see the cave and how you are in it. But you know you're in a cave if your life doesn't look the way that you thought it would or want it to right now. You are in a cave. Because that life that you want is for you. It's just asking you to become the person that claims it. I call it your crown, claiming your crown. So you move from your cave to your crown. This framework is not mine. I've adapted it from a very, very incredible human being. I'll go ahead and plug him right now, Garrett White, who developed Wake Up Warrior. This is my own version of it because that's his. He has his. I have been called to run my own and to make my own adjustments, my own adaptations. Mine is more based on Plato's allegory of the caves. And Garrett got his from, I believe, Brene Brown and Brandon Bouchard and others. I don't know that for certain, but that's my understanding. That his stuff is very in alignment with their stuff. So this concept is really God's concept. It's not even mine. And it's one that's actually kind of ancient. Like I said, it relates to Plato's allegory of the caves. You are in a cave. What you see around you is illusion. And all you have to do is get out. Like you can literally just you can just step out of the fucking cave. But it takes work. It's not just like, oh, let me manifest that. So the way to get out of the cave is to see the cave all the way, to see where you've been lying to yourself. And the way you do that is you get to the truth of where you're at. What is actually going on in your life? What is actually going on in your relationships? What is actually going on with your money? How do you feel about it? If you're happy with it, great. If you're not, there's a lie. And even if you're happy with it, there's possibly a lie there too, because is it happiness that you just kind of like stoically accepted it and you're like, oh, this is just my life. I didn't actually want that. My bad. I didn't want the boat. I didn't want in my case, I didn't want do I really want a Lambo? I keep coming up with Lambo. No, I really want a Porsche GT3 RS. That's what I legitimately want. And by the time I get it, maybe it's the new model. I think there's already a GT4 RS out. And so maybe that's what I actually want. Don't know. McLaren P1 sounds really good too. But point is, I actually want that. Can I buy that right now? No. So I need to go become the man that can. Do I want it for something external to me? No, I legitimately just want to know what it feels like to buy and drive this Porsche. Now, there is plenty of spiritual healing needed if you are trapped in the game of materialism where you're like, I want this thing because I think it's going to make me look cool and give me the other blank. I want to have sex with a lot of women because I think that's going to fulfill me. Newsflash, it's not. But if it's an authentic want in your heart, great, go do it. The evolution that you are going through on it is what your soul's asking. But just do the thing. Just do it. Make it happen at all costs. Figure out who you need to become to have sex with all those women, if that's what your fucking desire is. In my camp, it's I want to have a really incredible relationship with my wife. I want to have like a bulletproof, weaponized, fully locked in. We are like power couple at the max. Raising kids with total love, commitment, power, certainty, stability. That's what I actually want. An amazing sex life. And so because of that, who I am being asked to become in the field of relationship is different. And for me, it's one that's very fulfilling. The deeper I've said yes to that path, the more life has, like, the more grounded and solid I've become. Like, my energy has just like rooted more and more. I'm becoming a man that I respect at a very high degree. And the fulfillment of that is really incredible. Even being on this podcast, this episode, being able to talk this way. I wasn't able to talk this way a few years ago. But thankfully, I did take action towards becoming this man. It was not the level, quality, ferocity, frequency, consistency that I wanted, or it's not even that I wanted, that I could have, because I could be a lot further along. And even that's a little bit of a lie, because if I could, I would. But looking back, I see the prison I was in that was blocking me from doing that. So now I'm just doing it. Some of the things I'm doing recently are like just going live on Instagram every day. I missed it one day this week, mainly because I was just working hard on other things. And fuck, I was so scared to do that. It's so interesting. I had all this big stories and emotions around going live on Instagram. I had that around creating content or even making this podcast in the first place. And once I hit this rock bottom, I just was like, fuck, I know I want to be speaking on stages, but the thing that's held me back from speaking on stage is that if I don't have my script memorized, I'm shit at freestyling. I'm shit at riffing in a way that's like well put together, in a way that actually brings value to the people who are listening. So how do I resolve that? Well, the first step was doing this podcast, because I'm doing it right now. But it's also not live, so the pressure's not high. There are areas in this podcast I can edit, and I'm going to edit because I started it kind of rocky. You won't know that though, because I cut it. Whereas going live, it's full pressure. Like, you can't take it back. There's no takes backsies. So I'm going live and then just posting the reel. No matter how it went, I'm just putting it up, because even the growth of doing a shit one is valuable. It's valuable. It's working very well for me. I will tell you that I had no intention to get engagement from these, and it's actually like doing some interesting things. I got a phone call from a friend today saying that the reel that I posted, like, she started crying because it completely changed her perception on some things. I was talking about the difference between being a leader versus a savior. She didn't even watch the fucking reel. She just saw the caption and it blew her mind. She'd been operating as a savior in the healing space for a long, long time. And she realized the difference between the two, like, instantly, and realized how fucked that actually is. So I'm not even like setting an intention for this, and it's doing amazing things. It's for me. It's just something that my soul wants, because the more I can riff, the more I can get comfortable just being live, talking, letting myself go at my natural pace, my natural tune, the better skilled I get at it. So it's like, when you look at that want, whatever your wants are, it's going to ask you to do some shit. And it's all the shit that you've not wanted to do. So just fucking do it. Like, I was talking to a person very close to me, I'm not going to say names, about this concept. And it was like, the conversation was around, but why don't I want to do it? Because it's asking you to be a different person than who you currently are. But who you currently are is not enough to carry the load of who you want or are going to be. So is it going to hurt a little bit? Yeah, when you first get into the gym, it doesn't feel great to lift the weights. When you first start running, it doesn't feel great to run. When you first start getting on Instagram Live, you suck. That's just the truth. But I know this from deep experience with running. Man, if you just keep putting it in day after day, it starts to feel fucking great. There's days where, like, I crave running. I crave it. Like, I'm like, fuck, I didn't run today. Same with cold showers. Same with breath work. Same with any of my other practices. Getting them off the ground, it's a little like, okay, I'll go do it. But now it's like, oh man, I'm feeling a little bit off. Let me go take a cold shower. Oh, I'm feeling like I need a little energy burst. Can't wait to do breath work. Let me go run. My body's dying for it. My workouts, same thing. So that applies to your business. That applies to making content. That applies to every fucking thing. Your sex life. That applies to your sex life. The game is not if you want it and then it didn't work out from a couple times trying it that you're just like, my bad. I didn't actually want that. Maybe I want something else. Or especially, this is like a really fucking like ridiculous one. I'll give an example. I want to wake up at 5:30 every morning. That's just a goal, a personal goal I've set for myself. It's just a way to discipline myself. And I have more time in the day. And when I wake up, I start working immediately. I like get in, I do a meditation right out the gate. Then I give myself a little flexibility, but it's either work out right after that, send out gratitudes. I send out a gratitude to 2 people every day that are really important in my life. I journal and I do breath work. And those things, like the order of them is very flexible, but they all need to be done in the morning every day. If I didn't hit it in the morning, it's getting done that day, no matter what. Who I'm becoming because of that is why I want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. And in doing so, there are mornings where I have woken up and I'm like, oh, but it feels so good to sleep in. Do I really want to wake up right now? Or do I want to sleep in? In the moment, I want to sleep in, but in the grand scheme of life, I sure as fuck don't. I do not want to sleep my life away. And as I keep taking these actions, I'm actually getting more and more excited to wake up. I'm actually like seeing progress, and the progress is like, oh my God, I love this. I love what's happening. I'm finally standing for myself. I'm finally a man. I'm finally like my stability, my center, my core, everything's coming into alignment right now. And people around me are noticing it on a significant level. And then what that does is it gives me more confidence. How does that confidence affect me? Well, it makes my sales better. How does that affect me? Well, it gets me a lot closer to my goal, the person who I want to become. If you've made it this far, I know I'm reaching you right now. I'm speaking right to you. I can feel you. It's time to just do the thing. It's time. Doesn't matter what happened in the past. Doesn't matter if you fucked it up before. You're not going to fuck it up this time. You're not going to. You're just not. If you authentically want it, you're not going to. You can't. You can't fuck it up. If you just keep going, if you don't second guess it, if you don't put in the other orders with the universe where you're like, I thought I wanted that, maybe I want something else. No, you just do it. You just do it. I want to grow brothership. I'm not going to say my specific goal on here because I do also believe that there is a level of like, keep your goals to yourself to some degree. Feel a little scared that I shared my revenue goal, but fuck it. I'm going to hit it. I know I'm going to hit it. And at the same time, sustainability is another game I want to play. I want to have such a bulletproof foundational level business where I just have people coming in regularly who want my work and who are ready to receive it. And then all I got to do is show up and actually deliver. But what I have to do right now, what I get to do is show up and build the systems. What a blessing. I'm finding that the more I sit in the field of, I don't really want to build that right now, the uncomfortable feeling of not doing it is actually worse than the feeling of doing it, which is wild and kind of cool. And I'm leaving room, flexibility. Like this podcast was not something I planned. I just hit a point of deep inspiration where I was like, I've got to share this message. It is reaching somebody. I know it. And even if not, it's going to reach me. I look back and watch a lot of my stuff. And that's the service you can give yourself too, is when you just go, a lot of it's for you. This message that I'm speaking right now is for sure for me. And if I listen to this again, I'm going to get way more out of it. So that's the beauty of editing it, which I didn't want to edit it. I've hired an editor recently, and my podcast flow has just slowed to a halt because I'm not the one listening. I'm not the one editing. So I'm actually not getting as much value. So I'm definitely editing this one. You know, what I'm finding is there have been many moments as I've been stepping into this new version of myself where it's been hard. It's been really, really hard, like cry, breakdown hard. And I wouldn't trade any of those for the world. In the moment I'm in them, like our natural response is like, let's get out of that. I want to get out of that. But in reality, looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud of myself for staying with it. So proud of myself for continuing to stand one foot after the other. And so those hard moments are a blessing because I know I can handle them. The universe doesn't give me anything that I can't handle. And that's the value of some of the spiritual healing. Some of the spiritual work is to get to the truth of that, but then not get stuck in the truth of it. So we went quite a few places today. I rambled a little bit, and also want to give myself some grace here. I know this one was fire. And if you're listening right now, you know it was fire too. You know that this is hitting you right where it's supposed to. And if it triggered you, even better, even better. And if there is something that's coming up right now where you're like, man, I really want that. Like if you've found a truth already in listening to this, the greatest gift you can give yourself is right now, without waiting, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. If you're driving in a car, pull over to the side of the road and just take one action. One action. Doesn't matter how small, but just do something to show yourself you truly do want this and you truly are willing to work for it. Because that's now what God's asking for. We've done the healing work. We've done it. We've been in it. Now God's saying, thank you. You had the time to heal. Now it's time to show up. Time to get back in the fight. Don't quit. Don't roll over. Don't stay trapped in that. Don't just let life pass you by. You know there's an expiration date on this thing that you are experiencing, this healing path. And that's a huge gift. So don't fight against it. And if you're hearing this and you're not at the point where you're like, I'm at the end of my healing path, great. Start building a foundation right now. Go for it all in. If you have not hit rock bottom yet, amazing. Don't let yourself. You don't have to. You don't have to. Just start doing the work. Do the thing. Get clear on what it is that you want, and then do the thing. So, thank you. Thank you to everyone who has made it this far in the podcast. I can't tell you how valuable you are to me, how much I appreciate you, how much I honor you, how much I'm grateful, because I put my heart and soul into these things. And I don't have any intention with it other than to reach who it's meant to reach. In the future, I would love for this to be big. I'd love for this thing to take off. And right now, I'm completely content with where it's at, which tells me that it's not the want that I'm supposed to pursue all in on right now. There's other areas that right now I want within the next month. So I'm flexible with it. I'm gentle with it. I'm like, here's a podcast. And I put it out. And I promote it to the degree that feels good. Hopefully that gives a little bit of understanding of how to play this game. But like on other things where I'm like, no, I fucking want that. There's no options. There's no room for playing. Let's just get it. So, time for you to go get it. And thank you for listening to this episode of the Hard for Life podcast. Can't wait to see you on the next one. And I hope you have a beautiful fucking day. Peace.